स्पेशल फोर्सेज की, वो ये बता रही है कि कल रात को 5 फ्लाइट पाकिस्तान आर्मी के सीनियर जनरल्स, ब्रिगेडियर्स और पाकिस्तान की जो सरकार है उसमें जितने जो सीनियर लोग हैं, मंत्री हैं, उनके सांसद हैं, सीनेटर्स हैं, उनकी पूरी फैमिलीज को उन्होंने वहां से निकाला है। लेकिन आज इंडिया ने उनको बोल दिया है कि अगर अब दोबारा होगा और अगर उनके एयरपोर्ट पे अटैक होगा तो उसकी जिम्मेदारी हम नहीं लेंगे। दूसरी चीज जो हमारी इंटेलिजेंस है वो आज ये बता रही है कि पाकिस्तान आर्मी ने जितने भी कंटोनमेंट हैं उन सब को खाली करवा दिया है। सारे फौजियों की फैमिलीज को उन्होंने सिविल सेटअप में भेज दिया है और जितने मदरसे हैं उनमें जितने बच्चे हैं उनको मदरसों से निकाल के वो पाकिस्तान आर्मी के कंटोनमेंट में लेके आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि आज की रात या कल हिंदुस्तान फिर उनके सारे एस्टेब्लिशमेंट्स को तोड़ेगा, फोड़ेगा और बर्बाद करेगा, जिसमें वो लोगों को ये बोल सकें कि हमारे इन मासूम बच्चों को हिंदुस्तान की आर्मी ने मारा है। ये हकीकत है कि आज से पूरे जो कैंट हैं वो खाली हो रहे हैं और उनके जितने मदरसे हैं उनमें जो बच्चे हैं उनको वो लाके सारे कंटोनमेंट्स में रख रहे हैं। तीसरी चीज, जो एक और चीज है वो आपको मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि पाकिस्तान आर्मी के जो चीफ हैं और जो गवर्नमेंट के टॉप मिनिस्टर्स हैं उनकी जो सिक्योरिटी है वो उन्होंने एक विदेशी सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी को दे दिया है। अब आप अंदाजा लगा लीजिए कि जिस देश का आर्मी चीफ पिछले 8 दिन से न्यूक्लियर बंकर से बाहर नहीं आ रहा है, जिस देश का आर्मी चीफ और टॉप गवर्नमेंट मशीनरी एक विदेश की जो सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी है, सिक्योरिटी कंपनी है, उसके द्वारा सुरक्षित किए जा रहे हैं, तो आपको अंदाजा लग गया होगा कि पाकिस्तान की हालत क्या है। एट दिस मोमेंट और इन द नेक्स्ट 2-3 days Pakistan will be in the total chaos, and that's the right time. We should increase our intensity. We should hit them more harder and more harder.
I just hope that, you know, what Major Punia is saying happens sooner than later. Wing Commander Abhishek Mathivan, these are pictures of the meeting chaired by Prime Minister Modi. But हम यहाँ पे strategy बना रहे हैं to punish Pakistan, to penalize them. And the Pakistanis, the rogue state that they are, वो फिर से शुरू कर दिया उन्होंने। विंग कमांडर देखिए कल भी इसी समय अराउंड 8:45 ड्रोन स्ट्राइक हुआ था और they tried to do strike. It was unsuccessful. अभी explosions have been heard in Jammu. UAV has been spotted in Amritsar and Firozpur.
See, as the situation developed, taking the starting point to be the cold-blooded killings in Pahalgam on the 22nd, we took our time and then planned our things, saying that we'll react at the time and place of our choosing. We did so. We launched Operation Sindur. We targeted, to begin with, only terror infrastructure, with an aim to teach them a lesson. To teach them a lesson to begin with. The final aim remaining to uproot terrorism. So to begin with, the first strikes were to teach them a lesson. They reacted. What does that mean? They reacted because the lesson was not received, was not taken. What happens thereafter? Concurrently, the tone and the tenor of tweaks or messages coming from the US establishment began with advising Pakistan to back off immediately. Till today morning, it came down to being a little more liberal, extending indirect support very visibly, more of support to India, saying that we will not interfere.
Right.
I shudder at the mere imagination of we getting derailed at this point of time, when in the last 48 hours we have conducted operations so professionally that the defense as well as the offensive capabilities of Pakistan lie exposed right in front of us. Since the last couple of weeks and even years before that, we have been holding panel discussions and discussing and arriving at the very same point, being repeated today again, that unless the Pakistani Qaum sees its military being humiliated, its military being broken, they will not take a lesson.
Pakistani military has faced many humiliations, sir. humiliation does not affect them. There have been many instances.
They have to.
We've taught them a lesson. You must strike at the head of the snake. Who's the snake? Asim Munir, Suhail.
See a situation like the present one when the economic...
No, I get that. I understand your larger point, but you see...
Along with international support,
but
don't come very often.
Wing Commander, Pakistan does not understand this,
So we have to up the ante and take it to its logical conclusion. That is to redraw lines to our convenience so as to find a permanent solution to this lingering problem.
Right. So
we are at the
only way you can address this problem is if the average Pakistani civilian recognizes that he or she is being used as fodder for someone's inappropriate, bastardized war. Until you allow that to happen, nothing will change. Because please remember, when Imran Khan protested, the army was in its barracks because there was a plethora of protests against the army, but the army prevailed. These movements will only happen when the civilian recognizes that their children don't have schools but madrasas to go to, they don't have an income, they don't have respect, and they don't have an economy left. Until that happens, nothing will change. So it is imperative for the average Pakistan citizen to just look over his or her shoulder at India and see how we have progressed from the same 1947 cutoff year. Right. Where have we come as a nation, as a democracy, as an economy, and where have they fallen behind? Once they introspect, they will recognize that the fault lies in their enormous trust in the most untrustworthy Pakistan army and Pakistan politicians. They are rascals. They are scoundrels. They will never change their spots. So unless that change happens, you will see no material change.
So what do we do to bring about that change that Suhail Seth is talking about? RSN saying, Brahma Chalani is on the show and he spoke. I don't think you were connected then. We were having issues with your line. But I'm reading out a post that he's posted. He says the success of Operation Sindur will hinge on India taking it to its logical conclusion. In order to end the Pakistani military general strategy of proxy war, history shows that while military operations are undeniably important, political will is the crucial factor for achieving a desired outcome in conflict and diplomacy. RSN Singh.
Who can dispute that? But I will go further than that. Somebody spoke about politico-military objective. Now, what Khwaja Asif has spoken in the floor of the parliament, he has given legitimacy to child soldiers, to jihad. What does madrasa mean? It means jihad. And, 2 days into conflict, and this is where Pakistan has, this is the abysmal morale that Pakistan has sunk into. What has happened to that 5.5 lakh, strong army and the armed forces of Pakistan? And say hypothetically, if we were to diffuse the situation, with this kind of a culture, where you legitimize jihad, you legitimize child soldiers, can there ever be peace in this world with this kind of a state? Now, if that be the situation, today, if a situation where 5 days hence, 10 days hence, 1 month hence were to diffuse, what is the threat over? With this kind of a mindset. And then the question is that the same generals...
Suhail, I'm coming to you after this. Suhail, just hold your thought. I'm just coming to you after this.
No, I'm just saying, with this kind of a mindset with the generals and Khwaja Asif, they send their children abroad or, in other schools, you are using child jihadis, to perpetuate warfare. It is not only a threat to India, it is a threat to the world. And therefore, you will have to, this Pakistan does not deserve to exist and, with this kind of a mindset, and the mindset is not going to change. It is not going to change.
Right. Suhail.
Brahma Chalani is the only strategic expert, and I use these words with great respect and reverence. Let's understand the strategy of nation building and nationhood. The first odious and erroneous comparison is to compare Pakistan and India. We are incomparable. And I'm not saying this out of any jingoism. We are a functional democracy where there is a separation between church and state, where our armed forces are respected, revered, because they behave, as General Prasad said, in convention and in accordance with international norms. The world has to tell people in Pakistan and the Pakistani establishment that this is no longer acceptable. It is unfair to call this a war between India and Pakistan. This is a war between humanity and Pakistan, because one country stands for humanism, the other country supports terrorism. To create equality in itself is a mistake strategically. So when someone tells me, oh, this is a war between India and Pakistan, I'm sorry. India is actually fighting a battle on behalf of the world. And the world needs to recognize that. We are fighting a battle. We are losing our people. We are putting our people in harm's way to protect humanity. Pakistan is doing it to protect generals whose only agenda is self-serving and to protect terrorists. There's a difference, Pranesh. When the Indian armed forces go out, they protect every Indian. When the Pakistani army gets out, it protects terrorists. Get that goddamn difference right.
Well said.
That's the problem, and no one has been able to get that differentiation.
This is a fight
done.
between humanity and terrorism. Well said. Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad wants to come in. Yes, sir.
Very well said by Sohail, and I believe the same thing. We have to tell the world that please understand we are fighting terrorism, and terrorism is emanating from Pakistan.